So I just spent the day exploring Elementor, and I'm gonna open this video by going back to my theme, which is GeneratePress, and the lovely, the very lovely work area for the page editor on my GeneratePress theme. I appreciate it. I think that after you spend the rest of the video staring at the Elementor's version of the page editor, you're gonna miss this. You're gonna miss this. You're gonna want this back. You're gonna wish these days. Because this is so much nicer than Elementor. And get ready. This is what it looks like when I edit it. This is what it looks like when it loads all of my things. And if you think that this shit is better, it's so painful, it hurts my eyes. So this is what a page builder is like in 2026, and this is my video explaining Elementor from the perspective of basically, I wanted to film it keeping the character of somebody that doesn't really know that much about web development and is using Elementor for the first time. I have previous experience with Weebly years ago, and in 2026 they have made it so painful to look at. It's just so much, all of these settings everywhere, styles advanced for everything. Every single element has its own. It's so overwhelming and so annoying and so constant. I don't know why. There is nobody that would make a website on Elementor and make a website with custom code that would want to go back to Elementor, ever. Why would you want to be on this and you're going to be on it for the rest of the video when you could be editing when you could be editing this, when you could be looking at this. Oh my goodness. This is so lovely. Wow. Anyways, so enjoy the video. So this will, I'm gonna be comparing ease of use a lot. And also at the end, I, kind of get a web page that looks vaguely similar to my website with Elementor, and then I run some page speed tests and they're awful, and Elementor takes 6 times to load as my website, so we'll just wait until then. And I hope that you enjoy the video. I thought I had fun exploring Elementor and seeing what benefits it has, and I discussed that in length. The benefits and features and things that I liked about Elementor is about 10% of the video, and then 90% of the video is like, why? Okay, so enjoy. Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video comparing Elementor to my custom coded website on WordPress. So basically, I created this website with traditional WordPress. I made a child theme and I used Claude to custom code all of these things. These are HTML elements, and this is just a cache issue, but this menu that I cannot resolve when I'm signed in. And I wanted to create an Elementor website, and the only way that I could do that was, first, I had to pay for an Elementor Pro subscription for a year so I could get my money back. They have a 30-day money back guarantee. So I wanted to sign up for that, try it, test it, try to rebuild my about page at least, and then I can directly compare what kind of code Elementor generates and the performance and everything else. And also I wanted to compare the actual ease of building it and everything like that. So I already made a mistake, apparently, because I thought that I could just install this here theme. How do I... So this is like, they call it a kit, I guess. And so Hello Elementor has a theme within a theme. And this is called a kit. And oh my god, that's annoying. Look, there's no X. What is this? I can't exit out of whatever this pop-up is. It's crazy. This is just a default, basically, theme within their theme that I haven't customized. And apparently it was a huge mistake to even install this because I can't just uninstall it. I thought it would be like, you know, a WordPress theme where if you install a theme on WordPress, you just go here and you click activate. And then you can erase your whatever your theme is. I thought it would be that easy, but apparently in Elementor, if you install a kit, you now have to do a bunch of things to uninstall the kit. This is what it says. So I pressed the button and I installed this, and now I'm like, oh, actually I don't want to use this, and I'm screwed. But anyways, just right off the bat, I have the same caching theme or caching plugin installed as this is my regular website, right? So my Elementor website, which is so confusing. How do I... all it has is this plugin for caching activated. So it doesn't have any other plugins yet, and yet the performance for this is 82 for just their default kit theme on mobile. And this is okay, but yeah. So already the performance is trash. But anyways, I'm going to try to uninstall this now. And apparently I made a huge mistake because, wow. So ease of use already. Exploring themes inside of their theme. Site kits is apparently, don't just install one because you have to spend 20 minutes uninstalling it apparently. So I'm going to do that and then I'll be figured out how to do it. Sort of. I don't really know. I got here because I went to install a different one and then I found this. So there's a way to just to remove the first one. So I was gonna install an e-commerce one. Let's see. I'm curious. Let's see how it is now with nothing. Right? It should be 100. What? How? That doesn't make any sense. How is the performance 87 with nothing there? That's crazy. Why is it a 6.5 second load speed? What the hell? Okay. Anyways, that's crazy. Will it help if I... So the goal of this video was to stick to basically a drag and drop for everything, try to just use the native Elementor and get it as close as possible to my website homepage. And see what is possible and how easy it is to do and how easy it is to maintain and edit and compare everything from there. So a regular person, I just kind of want to simulate a regular person that has no experience with WordPress or web development trying to do this and not using AI for help as much. So I don't know if a regular person would know about purge all to help. What the hell? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that the performance is saying 87 with nothing on the website. It's just hello world and it's an 87% performance. Okay. The performance shot up to 92. So let's install, which is still ridiculous, but let's install, where's the thing? Yeah. We're gonna install this so you can see how easy it is. I don't know why it's saying that. I already have one and I've already removed the old one. Okay, I already did. I did. It's gone. Let's see. Content templates, plugins. Sure. Import and apply. Okay. But I am gonna use Claude to cheat when I'm doing this because I don't want to go into it blindly and spend forever just fumbling around with the basic learning curve stuff. Alright, let's see. So this is the wireframe theme within their theme. In the preview there's an X here. Oh my god. But it's not here on the live website in my browser, which is crazy to not have an X on that. So this is okay. Let's see how the performance is now. I'm gonna run an analysis every time I do anything. It was 92 on mobile, which is crazy for a blank website, but we'll see what it is. Yeah, now it's down to an 82. Just gonna focus on building an about page and not really the rest of the website, just to compare performance and everything. So they really don't want you to use the WordPress and find out that if you click this you can actually get to the regular WordPress dashboard to kind of hide it. And then if you do, like normally if you wanted to edit your about us page, right, you would go to WordPress and click about and edit. But even if you do that, you just end up getting told to go back to Elementor, which is kind of funny. And everything you do, the E load comes up. So they're saying basically this like whole drag and drop interface is easier for people to understand. I wouldn't want this to be. How do I just remove this image? It's crazy. Delete? It's gonna delete the whole container. I'm just gonna end up deleting everything on this page. Oh, but it's still like half and half. Yeah, this is so much more intuitive. How do I make it one thing? What the heck? Advanced? Oh my gosh, this is so difficult. I literally just wanted to make it so on mine, it's just like, this is what it looks like. So much easier for me to edit. It's like a breath of fresh air. So, is that not the way to do this? Yeah, this is so easy. What the fuck? How do I make it so it's just 2 items? Or just 1 item? Wow, this is crazy. Can I just move that to 100%? Okay, that's fine. Oh. Oh, thank God Control Z works. Okay. So I'll just copy this. Why do I have to click and edit? Oh. Okay. Ah! I just want to Control A. It's so crazy. And it drags it around when I do that. Make sure, yeah, well, because I don't know what happened. I accidentally, like, deleted. Okay, I know. See, if I hadn't copied and pasted this, it wouldn't have this strong. So how do you, if I was just doing this? So, wow, so like, oh, you can. It's here. Dude, I'm gonna freak out with this whole drag and drop instead of selecting text thing. Okay. Blend mode. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. How do I make this bold? What the heck? Style? Text shadow, like what? Stroke, cool. Blend mode normal. Incredible. Oh, and now I've added a shadow. How do I remove it? Oh my gosh. They don't just have like basic bold. Oh, here it is. It's like, what the heck? And this is like back to not being 100%. Yeah, this is so easy, you guys. I love this. This is so fun. What? I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna freak out already. I don't understand. Why is it so high on the page? Yeah. Editing websites made easy. So if I copy and paste this. Ugh. Okay. Oh. I don't understand why when I want to select text, it automatically drags and drops it. So it... Dude. If you click this, then it stops doing that. So it... Okay. But still, this is going back to, it won't stay at 100. It refuses to listen to me. Okay, so 100%. Okay, align items. Very similar to uploading a file. I created a image carousel, except for it put it into something called a gallery. But okay. And there's super spaced apart. So like, okay. Slides to show. Default image stretch. Yes. No. Can I turn off? I hate these arrows. There's no way to just turn that off. I hate them. Okay, well I guess I can't do that. None. Okay, there we go. Does it have... I've seen people with the like zoomed out thing, like, so on mine I have it where this comes up. And I've seen Elementor carousels with something like that. Territory. When I did this with Claude, it took me a few hours, I'm not gonna lie, because I wanted to get this pop out effect and the animate in and out, where it comes, see how it, in mine it scales up and then down, which I like. So it did take me a while, but just to get this, a basic carousel with that would be the same amount of time basically. It would have been copying and pasting HTML from and uploading files the same kind of way. But this, you can do a scroll animation, which we don't want, but we do want to hover, mouse track. I don't know what that means. Direct opposite speed. Oh gosh, okay. I see now. Yeah, I don't really want that. That's cool. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted this nice little slight hover and pause. That's what I want. And apparently that's not an option. You just have this crazy thing that I don't know how you would ever use that, because it's just kind of silly. It's cool, but like... Okay. And then there's a scrolling effect. Okay, here we go. Here's fade in up. Oh, that's awful. Okay. Zoom in. So it's the whole thing. It's not each image. Okay. So I can't do that apparently. Not easily. So far, I hate this. Transform. It's like the whole thing. It's editing the whole thing as one thing. There's not like an easy way to edit each image. Animation. Okay, cool. Responsiveness. Let's see what it does on mobile. It just puts one image. That's fine, I guess. But yeah, you can't really, let's see if Claude has any ideas. Alright, so I actually found out that there's, apparently there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different carousel options. And Claude informs me that image carousel is legacy and carousel is now the newest version. So I went ahead and put a new carousel. Now we saw how easy it was for me to make this carousel, although I fucked it up. I put an on hover animation and I thought that I turned it off before I left, but apparently I left that on and now I cannot edit this to turn it off. How do I? So if I was having this issue on regular WordPress, first I can just hide the thing, but I have this, right? So I can always easily get to that element even if it's freaking out on me. But apparently here I'm just screwed and there's nothing I can do to fix this. I cannot edit it to turn it off. Did it let me go into it? Okay, good. Okay, I think this is it. Motion effects. I don't even know how I did this. Oh, here it is. Normal. Oh yeah, that's so much better to not proportionally scale. Okay, fixed. Oh my god. Who knows? So apparently this is the new version and it's significantly harder to add items. It's not intuitive, so I keep on adding more and more widgets and not really understanding what's going on here. How do I just delete this so I can start over? Is that a thing? Is that an option? How do you delete things? Like if I just wanted, because this has a little X, but this stuff, okay, weird, which is that you have to drag and drop each in this version of the carousel, which I'm not even sure if it will work yet, but stop telling me. You have to actually put image, and then you have to manually put each one in, and set the size, I guess. Medium mark, okay. And then just very simply, oh no, that's not what I want, okay. Yeah, this is significantly more difficult than just giving ChatGPT a list of links and telling it to do this for you. It's not easier than ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. What's really annoying is that I have to change the size for each one. How do I add more? Okay, I'll just add it as quickly as I can. But also nice, I can't drag and drop one thing, but then it opens that. I have to search image again, so I might as well just do it before, you know, like you would think you'd be able to drag and drop. If it's gonna be drag and drop, you would think you'd be able to drag and drop more than one thing at a time. Just go boom, and then, you know, do it again. But you can't do that, so you might as well just assign the image and do the last one. Okay, so a little bit more time than it would have taken, but that should give me more options. Now, that should give me more options to, I really hate not having an inline thing to just select things. Because now I'm selecting the image instead of the whole carousel. Okay. So, let's see. Slides on scroll. Off. On. Okay, so if I want to do the pop-out thing, I think that I have to change their setting, the sizes of each image. But that wouldn't work because it wouldn't make the main image automatically scale up. There's got to be another way to do this. Okay, so I came across this Elementor website on Reddit that had an image carousel where the main image was like popped out and the other images were kind of accordion style, smaller behind it. Similar to my website, except for instead of being inline at the bottom, it was bigger on the bottom and the top. So I thought that this would be something easy to stumble across, like just a turn on setting into their image carousel. But apparently it's not. So I asked Claude about it and it said that I might be able to do it if I install a third-party Elementor add-on plugin, which I think is hilarious. That's something, and it says it too. To get a feature that should be basic, they would have to research these add-ons and install one and potentially pay another subscription. And, you know, basically what I would say would be the most useful thing about Elementor would be discovering new ways to design a website while just messing with it, right? Like if you're just playing with this and you see like a scale main image larger or something button and you just press that and it does it and you go, oh, that's nice, I never thought about doing that. That would be the best use case for Elementor, would just be to discover new ways to design things and stuff like that. I came to this with a pre-existing vision that made me look for an option that apparently doesn't exist on the default Elementor. And this is so complex. And so really this whole thing is just useless and I should just delete it if I can. I can click delete like that. I figured that out at least. Edit carousel. Doing it this way did not, I mean, there's this equal height thing, but I don't see any option to increase the height of the middle option. And there's nothing that would be like an obvious, like, oh, let me turn this on and see what it looks like. That whole offset thing that I found, there was the offset sides that put like a little half slide on either side, so it's obvious that it's a carousel, which is, you know, cool. But yeah, it doesn't really look like there's an easy way to make it pop out. And there's definitely not any way to make, to do the image overlay or the pop-up without installing another plugin. So we're just gonna delete the whole thing, hopefully. Okay. And so basically this is all we can do. It's just a basic image carousel. There's no, can I have this? Is this working? Basically, there is no way to do the color overlay on the background images, no way to make the main image zoomed up. I also thought it was kind of funny because without getting into custom code or installing a plugin. What I found was funny is that they have a responsive settings, so for mobile, for tablet and mobile version. And on my thing, what happens with desktop is it looks like this, then when you get to tablet it looks like that, and when you get to mobile it looks like this. So instead of becoming one image, it makes the images square instead of rectangular, so they all fit. And their responsive options are to hide it. That's it. That's what you can do. Those are your responsive settings. So I thought that was a funny find. Okay, so this is what we ended up with, which is not as cool as mine. But I wanted to compare the code really quick. So basically I had Claude write an HTML version of this carousel, the same exact carousel as this, because my carousel is a lot more complicated than this. So this is the HTML for just the image carousel from Elementor. And so I can use a tool to break it up so you can actually see the code. So this is 7,220 characters and 55 lines of code for an image carousel. And this is what Claude wrote, which was 59 lines and only 1,500 characters. So it's about a sixth the amount of code, maybe a seventh the amount of code, which is like 12% or something. And these do the same exact thing, it's just that to be in a drag and drop interface, it has to have all of these crazy divs and all of this crazy stuff. The related CSS. So my version pretty much just inherits the existing CSS I already have. It doesn't need any specific CSS. Their version of the carousel has to use 3 different CSS files, which is crazy. Imagine having 3 CSS files for one widget, for one carousel. Anyways, so we're gonna go to here, and we're gonna just paste this in so we can see everything together. Because this is everything just to have a widget on your website, or just to have an animated carousel on your Elementor website. It's more fair to include all of the things. Yeah, okay. So now we're starting to look more like, it's officially surpassed my crazy custom coded one with the crazy animations and color overlay background and zoom in and everything, and overflow. Right, so this is only 11,445 lines of code for an image carousel that is significantly more complicated. And theirs is now 13,400, not lines, but 13,482 characters, 225 lines of code. Claude simple version of the same exact image carousel. This will look exactly the same as what Elementor created, and it's only 1,500 characters, 59 lines, and this one is now 13,482 characters, 225 lines. So yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. And then when you have 13 times the amount of code than necessary, it's going to take 13 times longer to load it. So annoying. I didn't even notice that I've been building on the wrong page, which is about us. And I can go back to trying to mess with this annoying nonsense again. Just have to go through 3 load pages just to load your page. Makes sense. It's actually crazy. It's still this annoying, even though I've done this once. I did it earlier and it wasn't. I know that I saw a way. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, and then delete this, right? Let's just delete this. Okay, this is fine. This can exist. How do I... Oh, here we go. Change this to... Danger. Oh, shit. Danger. Oh. Nothing happened when I clicked danger. Okay. And then we'll just, I'm assuming that, so if I made this mistake on my website, I would literally just be able to copy this, right, and then create the HTML element on this page and, you know, and put the image carousel here, but there's obviously no easy way to do that, so I just have to redo it, apparently. So we'll just go ahead and put these in. Okay, and then redo everything like that. Default, no. Default, show none. Navigation, none, okay. And easy. And I forgot how I turned lazy load on. Here it is. Okay, and we'll change this. Okay. And then this should say this. And we're gonna just use that button instead of our order now. It's fine. I don't really want this to be center. I want this to be left. Is that easy to change? Yeah, it's a paragraph, so it shouldn't be centered. It shouldn't be centered unless all my paragraphs on this website. Okay. That's fine. Alright, let's see. Ugh, it's not centered probably because I deleted the things. Center? Does that work? Okay, let's see if that fixes it. Okay, easy, right? Okay, that was it. Actually easy. Okay. I hate this so much. Alright, now let's see. Oh my gosh, it's the worst. Let's see how hard it is to make our product comparison tool now. Just run a quick test to see if the image carousel affected loading speed, and it did, because it went from being an 87 to a 72. And I was trying to be honest, so I turned lazy loading off, which means that the image carousel should load last after everything else. And this dropped from, I think, 95 to 91. So I just turned lazy loading off to see if maybe it was actually making it worse. We'll check really quick. And I don't really know what else I could do because I do have caching on. And I purged the cache. But I have caching on. And so, and I had lazy loading on. I imagine it's going to be worse with it off. Well, we'll see. The longer it takes to diagnose performance issues, the worse it is. Oh, it dropped from 70, what was it, 75 or 70? 7.3 seconds, oh my god. So I guess we'll leave that on. It's not counterintuitive, at least. We know that it's helping a little bit. But yeah, that's horrific. The most frustrating thing in the world. So, I added this container here, and I was trying to add containers.
Several hours long video.
So I stop recording and start recording. So this is like the most frustrating thing ever. So I tried to make a container to put more containers inside of the container. And now I've just ended up making like 60 containers that would not go inside of this container. So now I have to undo everything that I did. So let me just delete everything. I don't know what's going on. Oops. Okay. Fuck that container, I'll try again. And it doesn't want to drop it below everything. No. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense that it's going there. So, really not having an inline viewer is the most annoying thing. Because I can't make sure that I'm selecting the right thing. What is going on? What is this now? Container. Because if I do this, it won't work. It's just putting it somewhere else. I did it when I wasn't recording and now I can't get it to work again. This is what worked earlier, is putting it there. But now it's putting it onto the side. Fantastic. Okay, maybe if I do this. And then maybe it will allow me to actually put a container here. Underneath this bullshit. Bro, what the hell? Oh, it keeps putting it next to it. Okay, I'm just gonna try deleting this. Stop. God. This is very easy to use. Yes, drag and drop. Do whatever you want. Oh my god, it worked. Fucking hell. Okay. No, that didn't work though. Okay. Because I want to put containers next to each other and nothing's working. Are you just putting more containers inside of containers? Are you doing nothing at all? Putting containers down here? Okay, so now I'm trying to rebuild this product comparison tool that I have. Obviously there's no sort of zoom on hover like there is in the original. It says that the easiest way to go around that is to make it have a light box to the full image. So I'm just trying to figure out how hard it is to configure this. This was actually, when I custom coded this with Claude, the parts like entering the list data is the easiest part because I wrote out the features list and just, copied and pasted the list in, and Claude actually wrote it into the code for me, so I didn't have to manually enter the list. So I'm just showing what it's like to try to do it with their interface. Nice, but maybe the style icon. Okay, there we go. Maybe like that, and then like. What I also hate is I asked it to do. When I made this with Claude with HTML, I just said. Actually, I don't think I put any sort of. The only hover, it does have it. It automatically put this nice shadow. There's a shadow. It rises up, and the zoom tool triggers on hover, and that was a one sentence prompt to do. For this, I'd have to configure it, and I still haven't figured out if I have to configure each of these individually, or if there's a way, or if duplicating them is easy enough after I get the basic. Can this have a outline? The icon? You can't do a stroke? So center. Okay. But I mean, you can manually have it do things on hover. I guess because we can't, it's literally you have to have your mouse over that. This is completely unnoticeable. But I guess because we can't do this is an animated icon here. So, let me see. What would happen? Actually, I'm curious. What if I uploaded like the SVG grader icon I did? Oh, it's not easy at all. Okay, let's see. Icons. I guess I can't. What, you have to upload a folder? What is this? So you can only upload folders. You can't just upload an icon. So I'm just gonna assume it wouldn't work anyways. They don't have any sort of animated icon. Can I duplicate this so it has the same check mark and everything, or do I have to? Okay, good. That's fine, then we'll just delete this. really matter, but I'll put it here. Okay, that looks pretty terrible. Let's see, list space between. Okay, that's better. And then we'll do a center. Nope. I want them to align left, but the layout I want center. Is that not an option? It's not an option. I guess it is kind of already centered, right? So that's fine, I guess. No, it isn't centered. You can tell. Whatever. Okay. I don't really want that. Let's see the scrolling. Vertical scroll. Oh, that's just for the list. It's not for the whole thing. Just turn that off then. We don't want that. Yeah, because I'm still editing the icon list. Okay, well. How do I get back to this? Cool stuff to be able to do, like, to be able to see live. It is nice to be able to actually see what you're doing, or the effect that has instantly, as opposed to going back, editing the padding code, and then hitting publish and actually seeing what it looks like. Let's see. And all of this stuff is fun to play with and actually see. This was the benefits of Elementor that I was curious about. I am so sick of the fade in and bounce animations. That everybody uses for everything all the time. I wonder how it does these. Is this just a CSS or is it JavaScript? Desktop. Mobile. Oh, cool. Let's see. So, you know, this is interesting because I could also use this to tell Claude, like, to see, because these are all things that you could easily do with Claude, I assume. But it is interesting to see the options. Most of them suck. But like, what is this? Ugh. No. Swing is interesting. Imagine this. That would be crazy to have. I wonder how it does these. I'm gonna ask Claude. This is one of the things that I thought would be kind of cool about Elementor, is that in this container it has these different shapes. So if you just want to instantly see what things would look like, or you want to see different kinds of shapes without being a designer, that's the nice part about having a drag and drop interface. One of the only nice things. And that you can preview it. I don't know why some of them like don't really do anything. Like this one I couldn't get to work. I can't. Oh, there it goes. It looks a lot less cool than I thought it would. Okay, so I'm really frustrated by this right now. So we're just gonna ignore all of this, these two extra panels that two extra cards is what we're calling them. that are not doing what I want them to do. I cannot get them to go next to each other easily. It's really frustrating. It's probably just learning curve, user error, whatever, but I mean, Elementor is supposed to be for people that have no idea what they're doing and drag and drop easy interface, so it's definitely a lot more frustrating to get the basic element down than it would be with ChatGPT. Like, this was challenging to do when I did this, because I did the zoom tool and everything. But just these 3 cards with like static instead of animated icons and everything, and the on hover animation and the shadow and the zoom, not even having the zoom tool, because this can't have the zoom tool. All this has is, if you click on it, it gets bigger. And if I just did that with Claude, it would have taken me, I don't know, a half an hour if I'd never done it before. Like, now it would take me 10 minutes because I know how to prompt it and I know how to put in the code right here. But oh my gosh, doing it in Elementor is a nightmare. It's just like, none of this makes any sense. Okay, I'll tell you one thing that's really annoying me is like, so this is the container inside of the container, and this is another container. And so this doesn't have a container inside of the container over here, and so these aren't doing what I want them to do. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. What I wanted to do was talk about the positive part, which after I thought about it is actually kind of not that cool. But so these shape dividers, right? Which they're cool. They're cool. It's nice that they're here, and they're all shapes that I could see people using for the most part. I mean, this is pretty useless, and so is this one. They're pretty stupid. I don't think anybody would ever use those. Or this one's not that interesting. I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of use for these weird ones. But it is nice when you're trying to design something to see what you're doing live and to be able to switch through different options, which you can't easily do with ChatGPT. Now, I haven't ever used Figma. I don't know if Figma has a way to do this that's this easy. You could do it with Illustrator, but you would still have to drag and drop things. So Elementor, as far as I know, is the only one where you could instantly visualize different ones. But there's not that many options. This is like the best part about Elementor, is the fact that this exists. But there's only 14 things, and the tops and bottoms are the same. They're just inverted. And it doesn't look like, they have a way for you to just, I mean, it would be really cool if you could import more of these, or if you could download more of these from Elementor. I mean, that would be cool, but I don't think that that's an option. I don't see anything here that shows that that's an option. So honestly, I would use this one a lot, and I would use this one a lot, and I might use this one. With your own website, you know, the sky's the limit with these kinds of things. You can go and download a pack of SVG shapes. You can also, learn how to design your own SVGs. And then you could use whatever you want. And at the end of the day, with Elementor drag and drop, you are limited to these, unless if you did custom code it. So it's cool, and you can also import, you can't. I thought background overlay, it's just gradient. I thought you could import. You import something? Background type, gradient. No, you can't import a texture or anything like that. But I mean, we can see what all of these are, and also you can just steal them. I think that if you installed Elementor, the free version, you could also steal these, even if you didn't have access to the Pro. Even if your Pro was pretty sure you could open your files and download these, but like I could steal all of these, you know, right by clicking here. And that's not illegal because you can't really copyright basic shapes. And then I could use those in any project I want in the future and not have to pay $7 a month to Elementor. So, and then I could also download 200 other shapes. And then I could upload those to Claude and be like, hey, use this shape in the background with this color. So you wouldn't be able to live preview it, but the cool thing about Claude is that you can live preview because you can ask Claude to write a file that has preview, and you can actually see a preview of it in it allowed me to literally preview the whole thing right here, and it was all functioning. So it's not an instant preview. It's not I can scroll through every single thing and see it with every click, but I guess it's because I tried to copy and paste these, but it's copying them as a new container instead of replacing. Can I delete this? Maybe I can delete it. Oh, well, that's not good. Okay. Anyways, let's not get distracted. So then the other benefit to this was those cool animations. So let's I'm just gonna go through these so for the sake of the video you can see all the options that they have. But once again, this all exists in a single file, which I already stole. This one right here. I went into the theme files and I searched animate.css and I found this. And this file was written by somebody. It's not a generated mess file. This guy, actually, Nick Petit. So once again, all of these are pretty simple things, but you can download this, and then you now have this library, and you can upload this to Claude, and you could say, make this element and give this element bounce or flash or pulse. And you can preview it after Claude generates it. You can't preview it live, so I can show you what all those are. And then I don't know where I could put the animate CSS. Maybe I'll put it in like maybe I'll make a mega NZ folder where you can download these if you want to steal them from Elementor without paying for Elementor, because it's not illegal. In fact, I bet you this guy probably has this for free on GitHub. Yeah. Wait, so he didn't even make these? He didn't even make these for Elementor 15 years ago. Yeah, so these are totally fine to steal. I can just link you to that because it's just public domain. Okay, anyways, so we're just going to show you what all these do really quick. Wow, so I really have to click into it every time, huh? Fade left, fade right, fade up, which is what everybody in the world uses. Zoom in, zoom, woo, zoom left, zoom right, zoom up, bounce in, that's cool, bouncing down, bouncing left, bouncing right, bouncing up. And I don't know why everyone and their mom that designs a thing on Elementor only uses animate up. It's not like it's so much harder to go down this list and find something more interesting. I was thinking if I do this, I'll probably do like the one on the left comes into the left, and the one on the right comes in from here, and the one here goes up. Something like that, because to me that's more interesting. The entrance animation though is not as cool as like, because I think it only loads once when you very first. I like it when a website keeps doing those animations as you scroll up and down. Ooh, that had a weird effect on the SVG. Wait, do that again? Okay. Lightspeed is my favorite. It's so stupid. Rolling. That's all of them. So, not made by Elementor, I don't think. This is just public domain basic CSS animations. And I don't think that they have anything proprietary here. Maybe not. Maybe not this Flash, which is probably illegal. And Bounce, which I think Claude told me not to use because it said that it could affect performance. So just as tedious and time consuming as I thought it would be, I had to, you know, after I copied and pasted these, I had to, first I changed these to the Twitter logo because they don't have a regular X as an icon, and I don't want to install other icon libraries to search for it, so I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to use that for now. I can't, so in this one I have this X overlaid as well. That's not baked into the image, right? I created this image and then I put the X on top of it with HTML. And I'm not gonna do that because I talked it out with Claude and we realized that there's no way to do that and also have any sort of zoom functionality. So if I were to do this on Elementor, the only way without custom code would have been to upload PNGs that already had the X's on them and that they would be on them, and that would be it. So, but this is just as tedious as I thought it would be, where I have to go here and I swear to God, okay. It's so like counterintuitive. I have to paste in each and every one of these. This is significantly more time consuming than it would ever be with custom code because I would have just written those out with, I wrote out these and even if I wanted to like edit it myself now, if I wanted to completely change this text on my current real website, I would just go to this and then I would search for a word that's in there, like unlimited. And even this, I feel it's, well, okay. It used to be easier. Before I added this is an animated icon, SVG, that's inline. Before I added this, it would have been, you know, it would have been right all next to each other and it would just be editing this. And I think that without my extraness of adding animated icons, this is actually easier to edit when it's all right next to each other like this. Personally, I think that that's easier, especially because if you were bulk editing a bunch of things, if you had like 6 of these cards to do and you had like 12 different chunks of text to copy and paste, you could literally just upload that list to Claude. You could copy and paste the raw text, you know, this text, and say, make a card. Each line of text is a line that goes on the card for a total of 3 lines in each card, right? And if you wrote the prompt right, it would do it right, and you wouldn't have to do all this tedious bullshit. So this is not any faster to manage or edit. And I mean, after you get used to it, it's like, whatever, like, why do I have to click on that to edit it, you know? Why do you even have to? Okay. I swear to God. Okay, so I tried adding my seamless pattern background to this, and I cannot do it. First, it started loading really slowly. It was really annoying. But basically, there's no way to rotate a background. There's no way to change the opacity of the background. And to me, this is a really, really stupid limitation. It should be built in that you can change the opacity at least. Rotating is one thing, because I struggled a little bit with the code when I rotated our pattern, but the fact that you can't even change opacity is ridiculous. So yeah, no background for us. Obviously, border is not going to be possible to do because you can't even have a content wrapper. Yeah, Elementor has no option for this. It is a shocker. Okay. This is the most shocking thing that I've found. They don't have a table. You can't make a basic HTML table with Elementor at all. They don't have it. They have this. They have this. If I can get it to go anywhere. Oh, I'm still under Footer. Okay. Because that's intuitive to notice. Why does About Us keep on going at the top? That's why I got confused. Okay. It takes so long to load when I'm editing it. Okay. No. A table. They don't have a basic table. They have this. Which I can't believe the basic one, the colors don't work on this click here. Like, what? What do you mean? The click here is blue on not hover, so you can't read click here unless you're hovering? That's the default setting? Okay. This text is invisible and has terrible accessibility because you can't read this because it's white on light blue. It has no contrast. That's their default coloring. Like, this is a default coloring. It doesn't matter what my theme is behind this. It's not opaque. They just were like, yeah, it's fine. They'll change the colors anyways. Like, okay. But yeah, I was thinking, like, I wonder if you tried to build a table in Elementor, if you could even import the data, if you'd have to copy and paste all the data for your table. No, you don't have to worry about it because you just can't make one. You don't have to worry about how tedious getting that data in there is because they don't have a table. So I guess our video is going to end sooner than I thought because they have a table of contents. That's useful. They'll build a useless table of content that nobody in the world is going to use, but not a freaking table. Okay. Well, let's just see how fast this baby loads. Actually, just as annoying as the pop-up itself is, I cannot figure out how to delete it, so if it affects performance, I don't care, because they make it so difficult to get rid of. Whatever. It shouldn't, because it's not within the first 3 seconds that it triggers. So let's just run this, and we'll see what's going on. So basically, nothing is possible to do with the drag and drop builder. I'm actually shocked at how little this has. You can't build tables. It has a bunch of animations that are all in the public domain. And it has, dude, I can't even figure out how to edit my website. It's crazy. Where's home? Jeez. Oh my god. What the hell? What? How does it take 10.5 seconds to load? I actually can't even believe this. Websites are basically identical. I mean, my website has a more complicated background and complicated animation on desktop, and there's some stuff, but this just loaded. It took 10 seconds, and now it just took 8 seconds versus my website. This shit. Oh my gosh. I pressed that 5 seconds ago. It's taking so long to load the editor to edit my homepage. Incredible. Okay. So, okay, let's go through what they do have, okay? They have their shitty icons, probably like YouTube video. They have a gallery. An animated headline. Oh, let's see that. Okay, let's see that. Where did it go? There's animated headline. Okay, let's try this. Ooh. Animated headline would have more options than this. It just has the same kind of thing, which is a drawing around highlighted text. So that's cool. Fuck it, we'll leave it. Once again, it's something that's nice to see in Elementor, so you know that it's a possible thing that you can do, but I mean, this isn't perfect. I would change the shape of the circle a little bit more. But yeah, it's a simple thing for Claude to do. All of the things that are interesting, I saw testimonial carousel. It sucks, it's ugly, it would take forever to fix it. I thought it would be nice, but it's not. And then to do it, yeah, it's a lot of work. You have to click on each item to copy and paste the text. It's none of this is like editable on screen, right? You can't just like click that one and edit it and click this one and edit it. You have to go over here and click them. Okay, so I hate this. Let's delete it. Let's see what else they have. Share buttons. Oh, a countdown. Let's see their countdown. So it's just like one. They have days, hours, minutes, and seconds. Show label. And if I wanted this to say just D instead, custom label, yeah, you could do that, but it would be stupid. I couldn't have one like mine easily, but advanced, this is just gonna be okay. I mean, yeah, you can add one pretty easily. It's let's add it at the top here. I'm gonna delete this because I'm gonna. Okay, let's see what else they have. Lottie. You can upload a JSON file. But can you easily do stuff with this? No. Like if I wanted to put this into here and have it be an animated icon in here with JSON, it wouldn't be so easy, right? But yeah, and they don't have any other ones. They don't have any default ones to play with. Okay. What else is there? Progress tracker. Let's see this. What? Why? I'm not sure I understand the point of this. Maybe if there was a vertical one, I don't know why you'd want it horizontal. It's like, okay, cool. They have so much stuff, but they don't have tables. Crazy. Accordion. I wonder if this is that image thing that I was, I've seen menus like this. I mean, it would be cool for a menu, right? Like if you were doing like a restaurant and you could God, I just can't imagine putting in all of that data though. Because it's another thing that if you had a Excel sheet of menu items with their titles and their descriptions and the link to their photo, you could just upload that Excel sheet and Claude would spit out this with everything already done. You wouldn't have to enter it in. Okay. Do 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 do. Icon box. Let's see if this allows us to use an animated icon. Oh, I see. I can't believe they don't have animated icons in this shit. Alright. So for $100 a year, forever, you can have Elementor, and that allows you to preview their 8 cool SVG patterns and add crazy complex animations. The thing that I think annoys me the most about animations with Elementor is that it is still a per element thing that you have to set up. Like when I copied and pasted these, I did just have them all have ease up, and then I redid it so that way they're all different. Which is kind of cool, but it's pretty unprofessional, so I don't think I would actually do that. I just think that that would look nice on mobile. When you're scrolling down on mobile, to have them coming in from different directions does look nice. But when it's on desktop, it's not as nice. Anyways, on my website, I added an animated border to these paragraphs, right? So like you can kind of see it, but it's a shimmer. It's like a gradient shimmer on scroll. When I did that, I changed it to my CSS, so that way, it changed the borders for all paragraphs related texts on the entire website at once. So that way, if I decided, hey, you know what, I actually want to make that 5 pixels instead of 2 pixels. If I didn't do it with CSS and Elementor, if I used their border animation tool, which I swear, I looked, I'm sure I've seen Elementor websites with like border animation, but I couldn't find it anywhere to see what the controls are like. But if I did that and I copied and pasted the elements originally and had them all have like fade up in, the problem is that if you want to come back later and change it all to fade from the right or change the duration, you have to do that per element now. Any future changes, the first time you do it, copy and paste is whatever. But when you want to go back and change every element on your website to be the same and change, when you don't do that with code, when you do that in Elementor, for the most part, like their site settings, their site-wide settings, were your non-code site settings are the same as in any other theme. There's nothing about this that's special or easier. This is basically what it is in any theme, and it doesn't have anything cool. Like the typography doesn't have, which GeneratePress doesn't either. What I used, I didn't use a drag and drop builder to make my paragraphs have an animated border. I'm just saying that you can't do drag and drop animated borders on Elementor either, not universally. There might be a way to do it on a single element. There's no setting for like a site-wide all paragraph or all headers animate setting. The default is fade in, which explains why every Elementor website just uses it because they don't actually go in and consciously change that setting. It's the default setting. that explains so much to me, actually, because I was getting sick and tired of seeing this animate fade in everywhere. But 30% of websites are built with Elementor. 30% of WordPress websites, which is 50% of all websites. So 15% of all websites are being built with this shitty shit. And that's the default setting, so that makes sense. But if I wanted to change that to fade in down, or fade in right, or fade in left, I would have to go and now change every paragraph on my website. If I had more paragraphs, I would then have to change those to that. So everything that I did on my website is not possible to do with Elementor. This is an SVG that I designed in Illustrator and then had Claude write into code. And see how it has a gradient? Like, I didn't see that option here where I did there. This is an SVG and this is an SVG. These were just colors, and I could change the opacity, and they naturally have a gradient in them, but I couldn't actually change the gradient. So I couldn't make this like purple and this red or something like that. This is just the natural opacity, so it looks like a gradient. And I mean, it's all stuff that's like designed so that way it looks more designed than the user is capable of doing on their own. This is casual explosions outside. But we saw that this kind of background only possible with custom code. A gradient SVG only possible with custom code. A custom shape SVG that's not one of their, what was it, 10 things? I said 8, maybe it was 10, I don't remember. Items. I can do drops of blood here, but I cannot do yellow construction strips. I would have to upload that as a PNG maybe and try to make it work. Who knows, it would be a nightmare. And I did a countdown, but as we saw, we couldn't do one that looks like this exactly. And I was not going to bother with figuring out how to put that into a banner. We did an image carousel. To do it with a popping out image, as far as I can tell, because I wasted so much time on that, would be to install a different plugin on top of Elementor that would allow me to do that with drag and drop. So I understand people's complaint about how Elementor websites end up with like 20 or 30 plugins on top, because yeah, they get to something like this, they want a cooler carousel, so now they're installing a plugin, and just that one plugin adds an extra 2 seconds of load speed. Because it's also too much, you know, it's a carousel that has a bunch of features and they only want to add one feature, which is a pop-up effect. Or they want to add a background overlay and a pop-up effect, and there's also 40 other features. Those 40 other features are gonna load. They're gonna, that CSS and that JavaScript, that 20 kilobytes of code is gonna load whether you use it or not. So that's why all plugins are inherently bloated. And if you're trying to avoid custom coding by sticking to something like Elementor or any sort of page builder, you're just going to have to keep installing more and more drag and drop related plugins, because apparently Elementor doesn't have that many. If you're like me and you're old school and you like a content wrapper on desktop, can't do it on mobile. If you want elements to look different on mobile versus desktop, I guess you need to install a plugin, because all you can do is hide them. If you want to do a hover animation, this is not an option. You can do the weird thing where it's skewed in one direction and was completely useless, and I could never see anybody ever using that for any reason except for like maybe some weird car website or something, like an artistic website for an artistic trade or craft or something. Other than that, that's completely useless, so unprofessional, and it was their only option. It was crazy. If you did want to do that cool animated headline that they had, they only had the circle or underline kind of hand-drawn line related deal. And you would have to do that for each headline. You would have to change the color of both text and then change the color of that. Then you could duplicate it right. But then if you decided later, you know what, I actually want to do those in red instead of orange. And I want to make the circle black. If you had custom coded it, then you could just paste whatever your code is that you're doing it within a Claude and be like, change these colors, tell me how to, and then you would change 3 hex codes and you'd be done. But if your entire website had custom drag and drop built animated headers, you would have to go to each and every one. Now I understand how people have full-time jobs on Elementor, designing websites on Elementor. You would have to go to each and every single one of your headlines and manually change those colors the way that we did it one time just to explore the tool. Kill me now. But if you take the time to build it with Claude, you can control exactly what you want it to be. I mean, their default options were nice animations and everything, but I wasn't a fan of the way it faded out. I would rather it either just blink out or draw out the way that it was drawn in, like it's being erased or something. Or an eraser would be cool. I liked these SVGs, but there was only 10. There was only maybe 5 that were usable, really. The other ones were kind of usable. I mean, they're all technically usable because some of them are like playful. It would be good for a daycare or something. But it doesn't feel like a lot. It feels like for something that you're paying $100 a year for, I feel that they could probably have designed, things off the top of my head I was thinking would be cool would be like thorns or vines, which would be cool for, camping websites and RVs and outdoor stuff, rope, sewing lines, things that I see in like vectors. I'm trying to think of it. Barbed wire, chain link fence, trees, a nice tree silhouette would be really good for hotels. Like a nice forest silhouette, a nice beach silhouette, oceans, animals. Their SVG library could be massive. And yeah, you don't want all that to load on every single website that uses an SVG, but they have it with icons that you can install libraries. They only have like two free libraries you can install, which is crazy. But why don't they have, because this is the most interesting thing to me as a designer that likes to just click on different things and see how they look, why don't they design more of those and then have it so you can click on that and say like add more? Like what if down here they had add more and you could they had an animal pack or they had a landscape silhouette pack, so like cactuses or pine trees. It would be cool to put like pine trees in here if this was related to the outdoors, right? That would be a really cool thing to do. And it gets those, when you can see everything in a library, that's what I thought Elementor would be, mostly. I thought it would be a bunch of stuff like this, not only one thing like this that only has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, 16 options. Most of them useless, like 4 options that are useful. And that's the coolest thing that I found in Elementor was this, and they haven't invested into it at all, which is really unfortunate. It would be cool to do. And they could even have a place where graphic designers could sell libraries of SVGs that you could import and then you could click and see. Right? That would be cool. I kind of want to build a plugin that does this, actually. Because you could sell vector packs to people that do this. I'm sure there probably is a plugin like that, but yeah, now I want to do that. That would be fun. My next video, I'm gonna just try to start working on a project that I want to build. It's gonna be an astrology website that what I want it to do is I want it to be where somebody can pay and enter their birthday and birth time, and then it will get their sidereal birth chart, and then it will use a file I made to generate a really cool birth chart automatically, and then email them a download of that image. So I want to build that if it's possible. And so my next video is going to be building a child theme from scratch, so you can actually see what it's like in comparison to this, which has been a nightmare for me. And like I said in the beginning, somebody that's an Elementor pro, God bless your soul, I can't imagine working in Elementor for hundreds of hours, will look at my video and be like, oh yeah, well of course it's hard when you're an idiot, not like, of course it's hard when you're not an idiot that wasted 200 hours of your life becoming an expert at Elementor. Stuff that you can do with CSS, like my paragraphs and things like that, that I can later say, which I have. I implemented it, and then I went back and I made the border thicker, and I changed the colors of the gradients, and I did all those kinds of things. I didn't have to go back and change it for every paragraph. I changed one CSS rule, and that was it. So yeah. Well, now we've explored Elementor, we see the difference. For a simple website with the same hosting, the same caching plugin, and similar elements in the hero section, just say that it's all marketing. Everything that says that Elementor is easier to learn than custom coding with a AI chatbot is all marketing from Elementor and other drag and drop builders that say, oh yeah, it's so much easier. It's nice to have an instant preview of what you're doing and see how that padding affects that, and how that margin affects that, and how that color change looks, because then you can just slightly change it, right? There was nothing about the Elementor theme that was easier, more intuitive to use than my GeneratePress theme. In fact, it was harder because the list view didn't exist, which this is a WordPress. I found out that this was added recently in WordPress, but I guess Elementor just said no, not to our theme. Our themes don't get to have this nice thing because we're already doing stuff over here. So there's a huge drawback, because I was constantly like, I want to click on this element and I can't. I want to move this element. I want to hide this element. I want to do whatever. In here, you can click on anything without having to physically click on it on the page. And I can just edit this. That's why I was so confused in Elementor that I had to click it and then edit it over here. So it's like less drag and droppy buildy filling when you have to edit stuff over here and not like on the actual page. Click it and edit it. You click it to select it and then you edit it over here. So that was a weird thing. But yeah, I don't know why you would think that interface in Elementor for working and adding paragraphs and moving elements around and seeing where things are and seeing how things are laid out. I don't know why you would ever think that Elementor's version, this ugly, like, all of this crap. Oh, I hate it. I just want to put that stuff in CSS and never see it again, right? You set it in your CSS and you don't have to see it 24/7. When I'm working on my website, I see the content. If I'm editing the page, I'm editing the content on the page. If I'm editing the CSS, I'm editing the CSS on the page. I'm not editing the CSS of the element, and I don't have to see it everywhere that I go. That is really annoying. I massively prefer this for just simple editing content where things don't get in your way and you don't accidentally drag and drop the wrong thing, and you don't accidentally, when you're trying to edit text, go to select it and you move it into another element because that one paragraph is its own thing. it's crazy. It's so frustrating. It's so counterintuitive, and I don't know why anybody would prefer to work in that. Like, even if I was used to it, there's just so much noise on the screen all the time for all of these weird options everywhere that you just want to set and forget and not see all the time. That's what I hate the most about drag and drop building of anything. Like, it's the same thing with like Gutenberg press. You mess with any of that, you're gonna see all of these annoying little buttons everywhere. But with when you have something that's HTML, it's HTML. You have a preview and you have the HTML, and that's it. That's all you have to see all the time. You don't have to see a bunch of annoying UI buttons. So yeah, basically, the only advantage to Elementor was that cool SVG thing and previewing animations. And you've seen them through this video, so now there's literally no reason for you, if you want to do a cool SVG, like this stuff that I did, you can go here, you can go to Vecteezy, you can search license type free, and you can get things that should be on Elementor for free. And you can select one of these if you like any of this stuff. You can select one of them, like this one, which is cool, which is something that should probably be on Elementor for free. And it's free here, but you'd have to download it and then send that to Claude and ask it to use this in the background of your element, and it would do it. And say, you know, use this gradient and use this object and whatever. So if you're not learning custom code and you're sticking to drag and drop, you don't get to find these things and use them in whatever way. That's just not an option for you because you have those 16 ones that Elementor offers, and that's it. So it's cool and it's nice that you can preview it. It would be nicer if they let you upload your own SVGs. It would be nicer if they let you install packs of other people's SVGs. Themed packs would be cool, but they don't, so they're lame and they suck and I hate them. So that was pretty much it for what was useful. It was shocking that they didn't have a basic table. That was something that I ran into with my other page builder. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know why they refused to make HTML tables. You need them for accessibility. You can't just like upload a JPEG of one that you make somewhere else. It needs to be coded so that way page readers can get the data. And so I can't believe that you can't even build a table. I was like, I bet you can't have a sticky column in a table. You can't build a table. You can't even have a table at all, which I have two tables. I have this one and that one. So there's basically no benefit to Elementor. It's gonna take anything you build on Elementor on average is gonna load 6 times slower than the equivalent on a regular website. Anywhere from 2 to 6 times slower. Or longer, even longer. It could be 10 times, 20 times. When you're talking about 6 times the amount of code for everything and 6 times the amount of loading for everything. Because, you know, if I had actually built the equivalent of this by installing this plugin for $100 a year that allowed me to build a drag and drop carousel that pops out, and if I had installed a table plugin because I didn't come with one, then yes, my website would now be taking 10 seconds to load on mobile all the time. And that's how you get these Elementor websites that take 40 to 60 seconds to load, which happens because they install 30 plugins because they're trying to avoid coding, and so they just keep installing plugins that should be coding. And the problem with using a plugin instead of coding is that it always will install, it will always load 20 times the amount of code than what you end up using, because you only use 1 out of the 20 features, you're only using 1/20th of the code. So for most people, and even if you did use all of that amount of features, then your website would be insane. So it would take that long to load anyways, but for most people, it would only use 1 to 5 features out of the 20. You're still getting the amount of impact as somebody that did put 20 features. And I was surprised that they didn't have anything like this at all. Like this zoom tool, all that they had was that you can click on it to make it bigger, and that's it. So there was basically 0 advantage, a million disadvantages. The only thing that was cool was being able to preview the SVGs and the animations, which, like I said, now that I've done it for you, you don't need to do that. And I'm going to ask for my money back from Elementor now, because I hate their product and I hate them.